In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him nothing was made that was made.
For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved.
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. It's Untethered Live on a Sunday night, and I'm your host, Jake Johnson. And tonight we're in the great book of Enoch, the book of Astronomy, chapter 90, verse 20. That's where we left off last week. That's where we're going to pick up tonight. Welcome to the show. Get your books of Enochs open and ready to go. How is everybody? What's going on in the brave world out there? Is it cold enough for you? It's brisk and rainy here. No snow yet, but brisk and rainy. Nice to see everybody. Good to be here. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. It's a beautiful day for America, everybody. I got a nice hot cup of coffee. Thank you to the person who provides the coffee for the show. It's a great cup of joe, don't you know? It is just the way I like it. Don't you want to have a cup with me? If so, go to the kitchen, pour yourself a nice hot cup, and let's get to talking about the world. If you don't have a cup, you can get one in the description below. I recommend the first one. It has my face on it. It is fantastic. But if you don't like that, you can get one of these, a stainless steel tumbler. We got the big ones and the little ones. They both have locking lids and the Untethered Live Bible Study logo on the front and all the platforms on the back. Looks great on your coffee table. Keeps your coffee hot for hours. It's a wonderful gift. And if you throw it at somebody, it'll leave a mark. So do that. Also, like, subscribe, share, support, join, and super chats are available in the chat box. I'd appreciate that. So would the channel. But if you would like to... You can do that at CashApp, $jakejohnsonband, or paypal.me/jakejohnsonband. My pockets, thank you very much. And now, one last thing. If you'd like to hang out with us outside of the YouTubeverse, get away from the oppressive little fingers of YouTube and their censorship and all of their rules and all of their hoopla, you can do that over at Facebook.com, where it's equally as bad. Facebook.com/UntetheredLive chillin'. The link is in the chat. You can share pictures, text, videos, memes, and get to know one another on a personal level. There's a group chat over there where only us are in it, so you can share sensitive material, talk about where you live and that sort of thing over there. Don't do it in this chat. Do it in that chat if you want to do it, because it's safer there. And also, there's regularly updated videos there that are adjacent to the things we talk about over here. They're funny, they're entertaining, they're free, so go check it out. And now, on with the show. Amy's first in chat. Amy, you get the gold star. Amy says, John 16:33, these things have I spoken unto you, that in me you might have peace. In the world you shall have tribulation. Yes, you will. But be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. And if he can do it, you can do it. That's the implication. Thank you, Amy. Amy says, hi, Jake and Amanda and everybody. Hi, Amy. How are you? Nice to see you. How's your day going? Not working too hard, I hope. Making that money. Amanda says, Amy, here's your gold star. And hi, hamburger upper hand. Amanda says, hi, Untethered Live family. Good to see you all. I hope everybody had a good weekend. Hiya, Jake. How are you tonight? Brisk and rainy. And cool. Other than that, I can't complain. It's a day. Nice to see you. Thank you. Thank you for the hieroglyphics and the heart exclamation points. Judy's here. She says, hey, Amy and Amanda and Jake. Hi, Judy. Nice to see you. Debbie's here. Hold on, my chat jumped. It jumped a lot. I'm sorry. There we go. Amanda says, Judy, hamburger upper hand. And Amy says, hi, Judy. Amy says, I'm wishing everyone a wonderful day. Dr. Martin Luther King Day tomorrow. His actions help both minorities and women get the rights we have now. All right, cool. Amy says, like, shared, and invited some friends. Thank you, Amy. I appreciate that. What it is here, hey, buddy. He says, hello, Jake, and to all Untethered Live. Hey, buddy. Nice to see you. come to get you some Enoch tonight? I will oblige. Amy says, hi, what it is. And Amanda says, what it is. Hamburger helper hand. April Rain's here. Hi, April. I'm sorry I missed you last time. You came in as I was going out. I apologize about that. I'm glad you're here, though. Nice to see you. Hope you're doing well. April says, hi, everyone. Good to see you all. Hugs and love, hearts and prayers. Amy says, hi, April. And Amanda says, April, hamburger helper hand. Aaron's here. What's up, brother? Nice to see you. He says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. And the Word was with God. It was both with him and him together. Those are two separate states, just so you know. And yes, that'll trip people up because they think, well, if he was with God, obviously he is God. How is he also with God? Because he's a triune being. Outside of time, space, and matter, apparently beings can be more than one thing at one time. We can't. We're what we are, but God can be multiple things. So that's pretty interesting. Thank you for pointing that out. Judy says, hey, what it is. April says, hi, Amanda, Amy, Jake, what it is. Judy and Aaron, much love, heart. Hi, April. Amanda says, Aaron, hello. Hamburger overhand. Judy says, hey, April and Aaron. April says, hi, Judy, love, heart. Aaron says, hey, Judy. Judy, 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 Judy. Judy. Amy says, hi, Aaron. Aaron says, Amanda. April says, hit that like button, everybody. Subscribe, support, share, and join. Amen. Amen. Get that JTAG numbers up. I see you lost yours. What do we got to do to get your JTAG back? Do you need something? If you do, I'll send it your way. Amy says, hello, lurkers. What it is says, yes, someone turn the AC on. Yes, I will. I can feel the heat rising. For some reason, I get real hot at the beginning of the show. I don't know why. All that excitement, I guess. But it is cold outside, that's for sure. And Judy says, number 6, April. Maybe it's Maybelline. Hi, Mabel. How are you? Mabel says, ciao, everybody. Jake, Amanda, how are you? Fantastic. How are you, sweet lady? Nice to see you. How's the fam? Aaron says, Amy, heart and peacock. Gotta sling that peacock around. Old peacock slinger, that's what we call him. Amanda says, Mabel and Hannah, hamburger helper hand. April says, Mabel, lovely to see you. Hearts in a circle and a smiley face with breasts. Judy says, hey, Mabel and Hannah. Debbie's here. She says, hello, everyone. Hi, Debbie. Nice to see you, Debbie doll. Debbie doll, do you do? Amy says, hi, Mabel. Judy says, hey, Debbie. Amy says, hi, Debbie. Amanda says, here's the link to the chilling page if anybody wants to check it out. Patty's here. Hello, children. Hi, Patty. Peace. Nice to see you, lovely lady. How are you today? I hope you're gleaming and smiling from ear to ear and as happy as can be. I wish that for you all. Then my chat jumped. I got to find where I was at. Hang on. Here we are. April says, hi, lovely Debbie. How are you? Hearts and smiley face with breasts. Amy says, hi, Patty. Judy says, hey, Patty. Amanda says, Patty, hamburger helper hand. April says, hi, Patty. How are you? Hearts and smiley face with breasts. Amy says, I had meatloaf and mashed potatoes for dinner. Nice. I had an apple. It's lovely. A Granny Smith apple. What it is says, yes, it's called the chill factor. It was 3 degrees this morning in northwest Arkansas. Wow. Yeah, I'd say that's chilly. Somebody turned the air conditioner on for sure. Debbie says, I'm fine, April. Just having a sad day. Oh, what can I do to make it better, Debbie? You want to see my pickle? I'm sorry you're having a sad day. I love you if that helps. And if there's anything I can do for you, don't hesitate to ask. I'll be right there. April says, hope everyone had a great weekend. I have so far. I have the boys, heart and smiley face. Nice. It's always good to have young'uns around. Amanda says, Debbie, hamburger, help her hand. Judy says, chicken, parmesan, potatoes, and corn. Nice, nice. Aaron says, Patty the legend. Amber's here. She says, good evening, friends, hearts and stars. Hey, Amber. Nice to see you. How are you this evening? April says, that sounds great and yummy, ain't he? Judy says, it's 3 here and going down to 4. -4. Wow. That's really cold. I think it's like 45 degrees outside or something like that. It's just cool here, brisk. And it's raining, so it's more cold. But it's not that kind of cold. I don't have my weather thing up, but I think it's like 45 degrees. 32 degrees. Okay, it's freezing. So it is right at cold. It was 45 earlier. Amy says, hi, Amber. Mystery heart. Aaron says, I'm happy to see you, Jake. I'm happy to see you too, Aaron. Nice to see you, buddy. I'm glad I can be of service. April says, we had fried chicken with gravy and mashed potatoes and corn on the cob and green beans. So good. That does sound good. That's one of my favorite meals. Fried chicken and mashed potatoes and gravy, but I like green beans. I mean, I like purple hull peas and cornbread, but green beans. Aaron says, oh, did I say hi to Firehead? I think so, but you can do it again. She'll hear you. Judy says, hey, Amber. Amber says, oh, my gosh, Amy. Meatloaf is the oven baked. Meatloaf is in the oven baking, about to make mashed potatoes. Oh, you're having meatloaf too, I see. Was our dinner yummy? Yes, it was. April says, 𝕰𝕬𝕬𝕪. Aaron, I said hi, love. Ha. Hearts and smiley faces. Aaron says, I'm saying hi back. April says, well, hi, Amber, lovely to see you, and I hope you had a nice weekend. Mystery heart, smiley face with breasticles, and one with big teeth. April says, thank you, Aaron, smiley face. Amber says, eyes. Nose, your turn. Aaron says, you're welcome. Piker, welcome to the show. He says, why are the majority of the churches not really talking about the last days as we are definitely in the last days and the end of ages of grace? Well, probably because they're scared of it, Piker. You won't have that problem here. I talk about it often. And right now we're covering the book of Enoch, and then we'll be jumping into Genesis right after that. But we just recently finished Revelations, and we talked about it quite a lot. And if you would like to go back and watch, you can. You will get the truth here, as you will never hear what I teach in any church. I guarantee you that. I'll leave it up to you to decide whether or not I'm full of shit or telling you the truth. But I'd look into it if I were you. Aaron says, that part. And Piker, welcome to the show. Please hit that subscribe button and like and be part of the show. Amanda says, hi, Piker, welcome. April says, Piker, welcome, prayers. Aaron says, time to feed this body. Time to get you something to eat. April says, I see your pointer finger, Aaron. Better watch out where you point that thing. That thing might be loaded. Aaron says, ooh. Patty says, hello, ladies and outlaws. Patty, nice to see you. That's my rebel flag, in case you didn't know. Amanda says, Amber, hamburger, help her hand. Aaron says, I have no words, April. Sometimes you just got to stick your pointing finger out and let it hang. Let what may be. You'll either get a bite or you won't. It's like fishing. April says, LOL, I'm assuming you were pointing or agreeing. Aha. He might have been fishing, April. Nibble, nibble. You know what I'm saying? Patty says, Aaron, I feel special when you call me legend. You are special, Patty. That's why he calls you legend. We all know it. He's just the one that says it. What it is says, ribeyes here tonight. It was great. Man, you are rich. I can't afford a ribeye, but thank you. Thank you for telling us about it. I bet it's lip smacking good. Aaron says, well, Patty, that's what you are. See, I told you. April says, Piker, how are you? Subscribe and stay and listen. You'll be happy you did. I guarantee it. And April says, what it is? Thumbs up and smiley face with a tongue out. Linda's here. Hi, Linda. She says, hi, all hamburger helper hand. How are you, Linda? Hope you're having a great day today. Amy says, hi, Cookie. What it is says, cause Piker, we're not like everybody else. That's a fact. If you stick around here, you'll hear the whole truth and nothing but the truth. And I don't make things up. I read it from the Bible and tell you what it means. That's it. No traditions of men, no hooey-dooey, no pageantry, none of that. I don't even pretend to be pious. I don't even wear a suit. I just tell the truth. As best as I see it, obviously I'm capable of being wrong, but I don't think I am. And if you think I am, you're welcome to point it out, but bring receipts because I will. I believe what I believe because I studied it, not because I chose to. Amber says, hamburger helper hand. Amanda says, Linda, hamburger helper hand. April says, hi, Linda, lovely. Good to see you. How's everything? And how are you? Smiley face and hearts. Judy says, hey, Linda. Amy says, I'm eyeballing my ribs. Oh, you're eyeballing your ribs. Closest thing I can get to a ribeye. Right? I hear you. Me too at the moment. I'm pipe smoking good right now, so you know how that is. But ribeyes are overrated. Once you eat it, then you want another one. It's not a good deal. April says, LOL, oh, Amy, smiley face. Amy says, I need coffee. Be right back. I'm with you, darling. Everybody get your coffee ready, and we'll get started. And April says, okay, thumbs up. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, everybody. If you got your Bibles, your books of Enoch handy, autopilot, crack them open to the great book of Astronomy. That's the third book in the series. Chapter 90, verse 20. And we will get started here shortly. Aaron says, Amy is fantastically great. She's a hell of a seamstress, too, from what I hear. You should check out her quilts. And when she gets done with it, I'll gladly put it right up here in the background and let everybody see it. And anybody wants one, they can order one. I have no problem shilling for you. Bill Bennett says, hello, Untethered Live fam. Bill, nice to see you, brother. How are you? All right, we got 46 people in total so far. That's good. That's a good start. 20 concurrent, but 46 total. Whatever that means. A bunch of you. Amber says, Bill. Amanda says, Bill, hamburger helper hand. And Patty says, hi, Mr. Bill. Nice to see you, Bill. How you doing today? Are you staying warm? Staying dry? Staying sassy? Judy says, hey, Bill. Aaron says, got to liking. Get to liking. That's right. Hit that like button, everybody. What it is says, quilts are made with love. Yes, and this one is made with love and patriotism. It's beautiful. If you haven't seen it, you should. It's awesome. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, Jake. Don't get a head buzz. Well, yeah. Bill says, I'm good, thanks. A little chilly here. Yeah, it's a little chilly everywhere, Bill. Chillier where they are than it is where I'm at, but it's still pretty chilly. It's freezing, right at freezing. But that's good. The ground needs it. The pipes, not so much, but the ground needs it. A head buzz. Yeah, I hadn't had one of those in a long time. I guess sometimes if you hit a cigar the right way, you'll get a little hooey because there's a lot of nicotine in it. All right, kids, let's get after it. Chapter 90, verse 20 in the great book of Astronomy. Let's go down, shall we? April says, feels nice in Florida. It's a bit chilly at night. Yep. Mabel says, what does it mean? Bob's your uncle, like Americans' phrase. It's actually a British phrase. Bob's your uncle. It's just like saying, and there you go. Apparently, Bob is a very popular name in Britain, and they used to use that phrase over there, Bob's your uncle. It just means, see, I told you so, and now you have it, right? If you take a 2 and you add a 2, you get 4, and Bob's your uncle. See what I'm saying? It's a weird phrase, but that's what it means. And there you have it. And Bob's your uncle. I hope that helps. Aaron says facts. Thank you. Thank you very much. You knew I'd know. That's one of those obscure, weird things that only I remember for some reason. All right. Let's get the book up. Patty says, April, what is chili in Florida? Well, it's beans and hamburger meat and some spices, primarily. Oh, you mean the temperature? 39 at night. 100 in the daytime, but 39 at night. It don't get very cold in Florida, but it feels cold because it's so wet. So it just cuts right to your bones. Mabel says, okay, thank you, Jake. My pleasure, dear. How are you? And April says, thanks, Aaron. All right, the book reads, and I saw till a throne was erected in a pleasant land, and the Lord of the sheep sat himself thereon. And the other took the sealed books and opened those books before the Lord of sheep. Now, remember that we are in a dream. That's where we were last week when we left off. We were in a vision. Enoch is asleep, and he's seeing things in metaphor. So we're talking about metaphor. Oh, we have a special weather alert. It might be getting ready to snow. Amanda, look into that. Special weather statement just came out. Sorry. As I was saying, Enoch is dreaming, and he's seeing the world in a vision, and the characters in his dream are sheep and ox and cattle and elephants and asses and camels. But they're metaphors for people and for angels and for things that are happening. And right now what he's talking about is the end times, when God opens the book of life and starts to read the book of life. And in order to do so, he has to break the seals, and each seal broken comes with a calamity on earth. Every time a seal is broken, something else occurs on earth that leads us towards the end, right? So that's a portion of what he's dreaming about at this moment. And the Lord of sheep obviously is God, and the sheep are obviously us. And the Lord of sheep sat himself there on the throne that he's talking about, and the other took the sealed books and opened those before the Lord of sheep. The other would be Christ. And the Lord called those men the 7 first white ones, and commanded that they should bring before him, beginning with the first star, which led the way, that's an angel, all the stars whose privy members were like those of horses. Remember those that we talked about? Pulling their penises out and covering all the cattle, the ladies with their semen and making babies on earth. Those get judged first. Why? Because they've already been judged. If you read the Bible, they've already been sentenced to eternity in the abyss. And some of them are there now. Some of them are roaming around on the earth. Some of them were there and escaped, such as the one that Jesus Christ encountered when he came up on the man, and the man said he was covered with legion. He had legion demons in him. That's one of the spirits that was escaped, and he got to go into the swine and live to fight another day. But these angels that came down at Mount Hermon, those are the ones he's talking about. They get judged first, and let's see what happens. Their private members, their penises, were like horses, big honking dongs. And they brought them all before him, and he said to what man who wrote before him, he said to that man who wrote before him, being one of those 7 white ones, and said unto him, take those 70 shepherds to whom I delivered the sheep, and to who, taking them on their own authority, slew more than I commanded them. Remember when he told the shepherd to go out and take a certain number of people, and the shepherds got, drunk with violence and killed way more than God told them to? Well, they're getting judged next. And behold, they were all bound, and I saw, and they all stood before him. And the judgment was held first over the stars, over the angels. Remember, stars are angels in this metaphor. And they were judged and found guilty, and went to the place of condemnation, which is the abyss, or the bottomless pit, as it were. And they were cast into the abyss, full of fire and flaming, and full of pillars of fire. And those 70 shepherds were judged and found guilty, and they were cast into that fiery abyss, what we would call the lake of fire. And I saw at that time how a like abyss was opened in the midst of the earth, full of fire, the lake of fire that we're talking about. So there's 2 different places, so you know. There is the abyss, which is a place inside the earth, a physical location on earth. And then there's the lake of fire that opens up on earth at Judgment Day, which is, I would assume, a part of the abyss, but it opens up in a different location. I don't think you can get to the opening of the abyss from the surface of the earth. I think you have to go through a dimension to get to it. I'm not sure. But this one definitely opens up on earth, and you can see it. It'll be in Jerusalem, probably at Gehenna. And Gehenna is a trash heap outside of Jerusalem, which is where we get the word hell from. Which is why I assume they are 2 one and the same, since hell doesn't actually exist. Not in the way that we're taught it in churches anyway. It does exist, but not in that way. So he saw a like abyss opened at the midst of the earth, full of fire, and they brought those blinded sheep, and they were all judged and found guilty and cast into this fiery abyss, and they burned. Like fat on a flame, they ceased to exist. That is the second death. Remember, Christ said, fear not he that can take your life, but fear he that can take your soul also, and that's God. He is the only one that can cause the second death. That is separation from God and the non-existent of the soul. God can destroy the energy that is your soul. Ordinarily, energy cannot be destroyed. You just take another form. So even if you die, you're still here. You're just in another form, somewhere else doing some other thing. The energy that was you, and your soul lives on. Your soul is eternal by its nature. However, God can put a stop to it. And when you go into that lake of fire, that is a stop to it, that you no longer exist. You're not here anymore. Now, This abyss was to the right of that house. And I saw those sheep burning, and their bones burning. And I stood up to see till they folded up that old house, and carried off all the pillars, and all the beams and the ornaments of the house were at the same time folded up with it, and they carried it off, and laid it in a place to the south of the land. I'm assuming that's the temple. I'm not sure. I haven't heard him mention a house. And I saw till the Lord of the sheep brought a new house, greater and loftier than the first. Yes, we're talking about the temple. So that's the new city of Jerusalem going to come down in place of the temple. And set it up in the place of the first, which had been folded up. All its pillars were new, and its ornaments were new and larger than those of the first. The old one which he had taken away, and all the sheep were within it. All that was gone, and the new one is in its place. And I saw all the sheep which had been left, and all the beasts on the earth, and all the birds of the heaven, falling down and doing homage to those sheep, and making petition to and obeying them in everything. And thereafter those three were clothed in white, and had seized me by my hand, who had taken me up before. That angel, I think it was Uriel that took him up before, same one, grabbed him by his hand and pulled him up. And the hand of that ram also seizing hold of me, they took me up and set me down in the midst of those sheep before the judgment took place, and those sheep were all white, and their wool was abundant and clean. Now we're talking about their raiment, right? Their clothing. So they're shining white. They have white vestures. They have white appearance. They shine like a diamond because they have that Shekinah glory on them. This isn't a color of skin. This is a color of vibrance. You see the light coming from them. They are spirits. And their wool was abundant and clean. And all that had been destroyed and dispersed, and all the beasts of the field, and all the birds of heaven assembled in that house. And the Lord of sheep rejoiced with a great joy, because they were all good, and had returned to his house, thereby defeating evil. When the judgment day comes, all things that follow Satan will be cast into the lake of fire, as it mentions in the Bible, and the only thing that remains is what God considered to be good when he created the world in the first place. Everything was good. He saw it, and it was good. All the evil has been removed from the world at this point. And they all come back to his house. And I saw till they laid down that sword which had been given to the sheep, and they brought it back into the house, and it was sealed before the presence of the Lord, and all the sheep were invited into that house, but it held them not. And the eyes of them all were opened, and they saw the good. And there was not one among them that did not see. And I saw that that house was large and broad and very full. So there were so many souls left over that they can't even fit into the new temple of God. That ought to give you hope. That means that the majority of the people will not be destroyed and cast into the lake of fire. That means that if you're guilty of a little bit of sin, you're probably forgiven. This is reserved for the worst of the worst. The really, really bad, evil things are going into that lake of fire. Even though you're not worthy of going to heaven, Christ died so that you would have salvation, that you would have a way to go. And so you will be there. And you will be invited in. And you will have your eyes opened, and you will see all things. All secrets will be made known. All misunderstandings will be made clear. And all lack of knowledge will be filled. You will know everything. Not one would miss seeing it. Everybody would see. See what? See everything. And most of all, see that it's good. And I saw that a white bull was born, with large horns, and all the beasts of the field and all the birds of the air feared him and made petition to him all the time. And I saw till all their generations were transformed, and they all became white bulls. And the first among them became a lamb. And that lamb became a great animal, and had great black horns on its head. And the Lord of sheep rejoiced over it, and over all the oxen. And I slept in their midst, and I woke, and I saw everything. Now that lamb obviously is Christ. This is the vision which I saw while I slept. And I woke, and I blessed the Lord of righteousness, and I gave him glory. And I wept with a great weeping, and my tears stayed not till I could no longer endure it. And when I saw, they flowed on account of what I had seen. For everything shall come and be fulfilled. Everything that was in that vision will happen. So go back over it. Read it a few times. Get it in your head. Understand the players. Understand the game. It's going to happen. It's going to happen as this book records it. That vision is accurate, and it confers in the Bible. The Bible tells the same story, but in a different way. But it's the same story. For everything shall come and be fulfilled, and all the deeds of men on their order were shown to me. On that night I remembered the first dream, and because of it I wept and was troubled because I had seen that vision. Well, I would imagine that's more than a mouthful. I imagine if you knew that, if you saw what this guy saw in that vision, you'd ponder on it the rest of your life. And so ends the book of astronomy, and we begin the Epistle of Enoch, chapter 91. The Epistle of Enoch. And now, my son Methuselah, call to me all thy brothers, and gather together to me all the sons of thy mother, for the word calls me. That word, yes. In the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. That Word is that Word, the Logos. And the Spirit is poured out upon me, that I may show you everything that shall befall you forever. Well, that's a tall order, Dad. Yeah. It's going to be a hell of a dinner. That's all I can tell you. Buckle up. And thereupon Methuselah went and summoned to him all his brothers and assembled his relatives. And he spake unto all the children of righteousness and said, Hear ye, sons of Enoch, all the words of your father, and hearken aright to the voice of my mouth. For I exhort you and say unto you, beloved, love uprightness and walk therein, and draw not near to uprightness with a doubt or with a double heart, meaning don't pretend to be righteous when you're doing wicked things. And associate not with those of a double heart. If you know somebody to be two-faced, or say one thing and do another, or pretend to be good and upright while they're doing evil deeds, don't be around those people. You can't trust those people. But walk in righteousness, my sons, and it shall guide you on good paths, and righteousness shall be your companion. For I know that violence must increase on the earth. It must. It's going to. There's nothing you can do about it. It's going to get worse. It's not ever going to get better. But you don't have to play. You understand that? That's what congregations are about. We can come together as a team and decide as one not to participate in the violence. That's what we're going to do. If you're going to be in this church, you're going to abstain from the violence. Stand back from it. You don't need that. Stay here. Be nice. Be upright. Trust in God. Trust His plan. Let the world destroy itself. It's gonna. And a great chastisement be executed on the earth, and all unrighteousness come to an end. Yea, it shall be cut off from its roots, and its whole structure be destroyed. There will be no unrighteousness left at the end. Everything that is not of God will be cast into the lake of fire. You want to be hiding somewhere when that happens. You don't want to be part of the world when that happens. Trust me on that. And unrighteousness shall again be consummated on the earth. And all the deeds of unrighteousness and of violence and transgression shall prevail in a twofold degree. And when sin and unrighteousness and blasphemy and violence and in all kinds of deeds increase, the apostasy and transgression of uncleanness increase. And great chastisement shall come from heaven above upon all these. I added the word above, but you get what I'm saying. And the Holy Lord will come forth with wrath and chastisement. You won't get away with it. You might think you're gonna, but you're not gonna. The Holy Lord will come forth to execute judgment on the earth. In those days, violence shall be cut off from its roots, and the roots of unrighteousness together with deceit, and they shall be destroyed from under heaven. And all the idols of the heathens shall be abandoned, and the temples burned with fire, and they shall remove them from the whole earth, and the heathen shall be cut off and cast into the judgment of fire. I added cut off, sorry. I'm reading things that aren't there. And they, the heathen, shall be cast into the judgment of fire, and shall perish in wrath and in grievous judgment forever. And their righteousness shall arise from their sleep. The righteous, they will arise from their sleep. And wisdom shall arise and be given unto them. And after that, the roots of unrighteousness shall be cut off, and the sinners shall be destroyed by the sword, and the blasphemers destroyed in their place. And those who plan violence and those who commit blasphemy shall perish by the sword. And now I tell you, my sons, and show you the paths of righteousness and the paths of violence. Yea, I will show them to you again, that you may know what will come to pass. And now hearken unto me, my sons, and walk in the paths of righteousness, and walk not in the paths of violence. For all who walk in the path of unrighteousness shall perish forever. That's a stern warning from Dad, and he's serious. And it's pretty cut and dried, and it's pretty simple. If you've ever wanted a real clear directive of as to how to live your life, if you're unsure, if you don't get what's going on around you, it's this simple. All, how much? All unrighteousness, all things that are not of God, all things that are wicked or evil, all things that are of poor taste or bad, all things that are blasphemous or dangerous, all things that are mean, all things that are unclean, all things that are of a bad nature will be cut off and destroyed completely from this earth. You will not survive it. How do you avoid that? Walk in a path of righteousness. Stay humble. Stay clean. Stay clear of bad things. Don't partake in wickedness. Walk away from people that try to pull you into wickedness. It's very easy. There really isn't a choice here. If you partake, you will be destroyed. If you do not, you will be spared. Simple. The book written by Enoch, indeed wrote this complete doctrine from wisdom, which is praised of all men and a judge of all the earth. For all my children who shall dwell on the earth, and for the future generations who shall observe uprightness and peace. That's us. So if you wondered who wrote this book, there is the title of the book right there. That's the author presenting himself, written by Enoch. Let not your spirit be troubled on account of the times. Amen. The times are indeed bad. We got cats and dogs living together. It's pandemonium out there. You got cats thinking they're dogs. and forcing you to call them dogs? Don't let your heart be troubled. Don't let your spirit be troubled by the times that are at hand. Why? It doesn't matter. This is a distraction. That's a distraction. The politics, the transgender, the DEI, it's all a distraction. It's the bread and circuses. Let it go. It doesn't concern you. If you're not part of that, and if you are part of that, get away from it. That's the evil that we're talking about. All of that stuff is evil. It is wicked. It is of the downturned, and it will be utterly destroyed off the face of this earth. And you with it if you're part of it. Write it down that I said so. I'm not being mean. I'm not challenging your feelings. I'm just telling you, if you want to be destroyed, keep going the way you're going. If you want to survive, get over here on the right side of God and stick with him, because that's how you do it. Observe uprightness and peace. That's how you do it. Let not your spirit be troubled on account of the times, for the Holy and Great One has appointed days for all things, and the righteous one shall arise from the sheep. That's Christ, and yes, he will. The righteous one shall arise from the sheep, shall arise and walk in the paths of righteousness, and all his path and conversation shall be in eternal goodness and grace. He will be gracious to the righteous and give him eternal uprightness, and he will give him power so that he shall be endowed with goodness and righteousness. And he shall walk in eternal light, and sin shall perish in darkness forever, and shall no more be seen from that day forevermore. Now, there is a whole pantheon of religious scholars who claim that Christ cannot be real, because if he were, he'd have been mentioned in the Old Testament, and he is not mentioned in the Old Testament. Really? Because I just read 2 books that had him in it specifically, and they are from the Old Testament, was taken out, but Enoch used to be in the Old Testament. Yeah. I can show you in the Old Testament on every page where Christ is there. Every page. He's all over that book. I assure you, Christ has always been the plan. Moving on, chapter 93. And after that, Enoch both gave and began to recount from the books. And Enoch said, these books, concerning the children of righteousness, and concerning the elect of the world, and concerning the plant of uprightness, I will speak these things. Yea, I, Enoch, will declare them unto you, my sons, according to that which appeared to me in the heavenly vision, and which I have known through the word of the holy angels, and have learnt from the heavenly tablets. That's interesting. He read some tablets in heaven. So apparently all this has been written down beforehand. Now, one thing I would like to impress upon you while you're listening to this, if you're not new to this channel, if you are new to this channel and you haven't heard me before, I want you to understand that this book that is talking about these things and using these words was written 4,000 years before the Old Testament was compiled. It is one of the oldest books we have, Job being the oldest, Enoch being within 3 books of the oldest that we have. And yet, it tells the exact same story. Enoch did not know any of the people that were involved in putting the Bible together. He didn't know them. He wasn't part of their religion. The Jews that we know about came together after Abraham, which is way after the flood. This is a pre-flood book. It's a pre-flood book, and all the arguments that go against the Bible pale in comparison when you see it in Enoch, and it's there. And it's the same thing that was it's the same message all the way through. Enoch was given a vision of the same things that the people that wrote the Bible were given visions about, and they wrote it down too, at a different time period. It's very important to understand that fact. Enoch had no idea Jesus would ever be born. He didn't know who Jesus was. He didn't know who King David was. He didn't know who any of those folks are. He knew who Noah was and Methuselah and Adam, and that's it. He had some sons. That's it. Enoch left this earth probably before the flood. I don't know exactly when he left, but I'm guessing before the flood. He wasn't on the ark. So think about that. And Enoch began to recount from the books and said, I was born the 7th in the first week. That's 7th from Adam. First week being the first 700 years. While judgment and righteousness still endured, and after me there shall arise in the second week, the second 700-year period, great wickedness and deceit shall have sprung up. And in it there shall be the first end. That's the flood. And in it a man shall be saved, Noah. And after it is ended, unrighteousness shall grow up, and law shall be made for the sinners. That is Leviticus, the law of Moses. All of that will be put together. And after that, in the third week, or the third 700-year period, at its close, a man shall be elected as the plant of righteous judgment, Abraham. And his posterity shall become the plant of righteousness forevermore. His posterity, meaning he will have children like the stars of heaven that will spread out and cover the whole earth, his offspring. And after that, in the fourth 700-year period, or the fourth week, at its close, visions of the holy and righteous shall be seen, and a law for all generations, and an enclosure shall be made for them. And after that, in the fifth 700-year period, at its close, the house of glory and dominion shall be built forever. That's Solomon's temple. After that, in the sixth week, or the sixth 700-year period, all who live in it shall be blinded, meaning they will no longer see the truth. And the hearts of them shall be godless, or shall godlessly forsake wisdom. And in it man shall ascend. So, what he's saying is people will be corrupted. They will lose sight of what they're trying to do, what their point in being there is. And these people start out as parishioners of a temple. They're chieftains and scribes and pastors and priests and so forth, all doing the work of God. And as time goes on, they get corrupted and they forget the reason they're there. And then they start doing things for themselves, and in that comes the wickedness of man. And then man shall ascend. Or a man shall ascend. And at its close, the house of dominion shall be burnt with fire, which it was. And the whole race of the chosen root shall be dispersed. And that's also true. Jerusalem was cast into slavery at that time, taken to Babylon for 70 years. After that, in the seventh week, or the seventh 700-year period, shall an apostate generation arise, and many shall be its deeds. And so it did. And all its deeds shall be apostate, meaning against God. And at its close shall be elected the elect righteous of the eternal plan of righteousness, to receive sevenfold instructions concerning all his creation. The elect, the 144,000 shall be chose. For who is there of all the children of men that is able to hear the voice of the Holy One without being troubled? And who can think his thoughts And who is there that can behold all the works of heaven? Nobody. Even today, we can't do that. Even today, we wrestle with the idea of what God is. It's impossible. And how should there be how should there be one who could behold the heaven, and who is there that could understand the things of heaven, and see a soul or a spirit, and could tell thereof, or ascend, and see all their ends, and think them, or do like them? Well, it would be impossible. If you saw those things, it would blow your mind. If you understood what was happening before you, you wouldn't be able to sleep at night. It would trouble you in ways you can't possibly fathom. So who could take all of this information in? Well, apparently Enoch. He had to be taken to heaven. He couldn't even live the rest of his life on earth. That ought to tell you something. And who is there of all men that could know what is the breadth and the length of the earth, and to whom has been shown the measures of all them? Only Enoch. At that time, only Enoch had seen the world from the outside. No one else had ever seen it that way. No one else had ever been shown the breadth and the width of it. Enoch was carried up into heaven by angels and shown everything. He got to see heaven. He got to see the abyss. He got to see the lake of fire. He got to see Abraham's bosom. He got to see where God lives, the throne of God. He got to see everything. I'm telling you, this man was troubled. He saw things nobody's ever seen. To this day, nobody's ever seen it all. But we have seen glimpses of the outside of the earth, but in a small number of us at that. Enoch got to see everything. He got to see the planets. He got to see all the stars and where they are and their courses. And he numbered them in one of these books, the Book of Luminaries. It's amazing. Or is there anyone who could discern the lengths of heaven, and how great it is in height? And upon what is it founded? And how great is the number of the stars, or the angels? Thousands of tens of thousands of thousands of thousands of tens. I don't remember the number, but it's like on orders of magnitude of angels. Like 10 to the 22nd power angels, something like that. And where all the luminaries rest. Who could see that? Who could know that information? Well, Enoch did. He recorded it. And now I say unto you, my sons, love righteousness and walk therein, for the paths of righteousness are worthy of exception. What he's telling them, I'll tell you in a minute. But the paths of unrighteousness shall suddenly be destroyed and vanish. And to contain men of a generation shall the paths of violence and of death be revealed, and they shall hold themselves afar from them and shall not follow them. What he is saying is to his children, he's got his whole family in front of him. I assume he's sitting at a table talking to them. Or maybe he's in a field. Maybe he's got a big family. Who knows? He's telling them, look, I've seen everything. And by everything, I mean everything. You will not. There's no way in your lifetime that you will ever see what I've seen, that you will understand what I've understood. But you have to know that I did. You have to know that I went with God and I saw everything. So what I'm telling you is, when I tell you how to live, it's because I know there is no other way. In your lifetime, you're going to be met with a lot of challenges and in a lot of decision making and a lot of situations where you have to decide to go left or right, and it's confusing for everyone. But I'm telling you, I've seen it all. There's only one way, and I'm telling you what that path is so that you can make that decision of your own accord without going through all the trials and tribulations of life. Just make the choice, stay on the right side of God, everything will work out in your favor, and Bob's your uncle. Go that way, though, and you will be destroyed. So he's giving them credentials as to why what he's saying is believable, because I've seen everything. There is nothing that was kept a secret from me. There is no more. What I've seen is all of it. And what I know to be true is you have to stay righteous. Because if you don't, it's over for you. You're just waiting for the inevitable. And those men of any generation that follow the paths of violence and death, they will be revealed. And they will be held afar off from the people that chose to stay in the righteous side of things. And these people will be destroyed and off of the face of the earth forever. They will cease to exist. You don't want that. You want to exist. You want to have eternal life with God in heaven forever and ever. The only way you can get that is to stay righteous. Trust me on this. And now I say unto you, the righteous, walk not in the paths of wickedness, nor in the paths of death, and draw not near to them, lest you be destroyed. But seek and choose for yourself righteousness and an elect life. Walk in the paths of peace, and you will live and prosper. Hold fast to my words in the thoughts of your heart, and suffer them not to be affected from your hearts. Don't let things cause you to lose what I'm telling you. Don't let things confuse you and twist my words. Keep what I'm telling you close to your heart. Believe what I'm saying. For I know that sinners will tempt men to evilly entreat wisdom, so that no place may be found for her, wisdom. Yeah, men will tempt you right out of being smart. They certainly will. They will lie to you. They will convince you that you're doing a cool thing. They'll convince you that you're part of a group. They'll make you feel special. They'll make you feel like you can do things and get away with things that other people can't. And they will lead you right away from wisdom. And when you're in that camp, you don't have any wisdom. Even though you think you do, you don't. Wisdom will tell you to go the other way quickly. And if you're not hearing that, you're not hearing wisdom. And no manner of temptation may minish or get smaller. You will be affected to all temptation if you go to that side. In other words, if you leave righteousness and wisdom and walk towards the dark path, you may be tempted to do anything. There is no limit to what wickedness you may be in store for if you go that route. Because if you're easy to be confused about one thing, other things will definitely try their hand at tempting you away from God. Believe that. This is a wicked world that we live in, and Satan runs it, in case you haven't figured that out. He is the prince of the air. He runs this place. If you are out in it, you are in his purview, and he'll do anything he can to pull you away from God. Because like us, he's read the end of the book. He knows he's on borrowed time. He wants to do as much damage as he can before the end. Do not give him ammunition. Woe to those who build unrighteousness and oppression and lay deceit as a foundation, for they shall be suddenly overthrown, and they shall have no peace. Woe to those who build their houses with sin, for from all their foundations shall they be overthrown, and by the sword shall they fall. And those who acquire gold and silver in judgment suddenly shall perish. It's the rich man. Remember, I told you there's nothing you can do to be rich that isn't corrupt. You can't get rich by being righteous. There's just no way to do that. In order to have that kind of money, you have got to screw somebody over. You got to do something bad to get it. If you acquire that kind of money, you have done bad things to get it. You will be destroyed. Woe to you, ye rich, for you have trusted in your riches, and from your riches shall you depart, because you have not remembered the Most High in the days of your riches. Yeah, it's funny, when you got money, you don't think about God or God's people. When you're struggling, that's when you go cling to God. Oh, Lord, help me, please. I need some help. I need some money. But when you got money, you don't ever think about donating to the church or doing a good cause for somebody or, being a good Christian. You just think about, well, how can I spend this money on the things that I need? Well, that's the way it works. That's why riches are bad. The root of all evil is the love of money. Not money. It's the love of money. Don't get that confused. Woe to you, ye rich, for you have trusted your riches, and from your riches you shall depart, because you have not remembered the Most High in the day of your riches. You have committed blasphemy and unrighteousness, and have become ready for the day of slaughter, and the day of darkness, and the day of the great judgment. Thus I speak and declare unto you, he who hath created you will overthrow you, and for your fall there shall be no compassion, and your Creator will rejoice at your destruction. Amen. And your righteous ones in those days shall be a reproach to the sinners and to the godless. Chapter 95. Oh, that mine eyes were a cloud of waters, that I might weep over you, and pour down my tears as a cloud of waters, so that I might rest from my trouble of heart. Who has permitted you to practice reproaches and wickedness? And so judgment shall overtake you sinners. Fear not the sinners, you righteous, for again will the Lord deliver them into your hands, that you may execute judgment upon them accordingly to your desires. Woe to you who fulminate anathemas, which cannot be reversed. An anathema is everything that's against God. Let me give you the definition of that word, because an anathema is a word that we don't use anymore, but it has a very powerful meaning. Something or someone that one vehemently dislikes. A formal curse by a pope or a council of the church, excommunicating a person, denouncing a doctrine. That's what an anathema is. It's someone that you utterly dislike, or a thing. It is the complete opposite of love, an anathema. You are the black sheep. You are the thing that the world rejects, an anathema. So woe unto you who fulminate anathemas. You do things that people don't like. Woe unto you. It cannot be reversed. You are in trouble. Hold on. There we go. Healing shall therefore be far from you because of your sins. Woe to you who require your neighbor with evil, or requite your neighbor with evil. Don't hurt your neighbors. Remember, God said, love thy neighbor as thyself. Do unto others as you would have do unto you, the golden rule. That's very important. Christ thought that was the most important rule of the Bible. He distilled the whole Bible down to two things. Love God with all your heart, your mind, your soul, your body, your spirit, and everything you have. And love your neighbor as you love yourself. That's it. That's what he said. So woe unto you that requite your neighbor with evil. For ye shall be requited according to your works. What you've done will come back on you. Woe to you lying witnesses. Don't bear false witness. Notice how these parallel the Ten Commandments that he's saying here. Woe to you lying witnesses, to those who weigh out injustice, for suddenly shall ye perish. Woe to you sinners, for ye persecute the righteous, for ye shall be delivered up and persecuted because of injustice, and heavy shall its yoke be upon you. Be hopeful, ye righteous, for suddenly shall the sinners perish before you, and ye shall have lordship over them according to your desires. And in the day of the tribulation of the sinners, that's where we're at right now, in tribulation, your children shall mount and rise as eagles, and higher than the vultures will be your nest. And ye shall ascend and enter the crevices of the earth and the clefts of the rocks forever as Canes before unrighteous. Canes like a goat, some kind of little animal. As Canes before the unrighteous. And the sirens shall sigh because of you and weep. Wherefore fear not, ye that have suffered, for healing shall be your portion. In other words, there's going to come a time when all the wickedness is done and you're going to have a chance to heal. You're going to have a chance to get better. You're going to have a chance to overcome that which has kept you down all your life. And a bright light shall enlighten you. That's the light of God. And the voice of rest ye shall hear from heaven. That's that Shabbat. That is the protection of God, the covering. You know the Bible where it says God would have covered you with his wings like a hen does her chicks, but you would not. That's what he's talking about. God will cover you with his Shabbat, his rest, his covering, his refuge. That's what that means. The voice of rest, the voice of the Sabbath. Woe unto you, ye sinners, for your riches make you appear like the righteous, but your hearts convict you of being sinners. And this fact shall be a testimony against you for a memorial of your evil deeds. Yes, when you have money, it looks like you're malevolent because you can do good things with money. Sometimes you do. But believe me, if you got that kind of money, you did something wicked to get it. I promise you that. You don't just get it. Maybe you were born with it. That's a likelihood. But if you got it, you stepped on somebody to get there. There's no way to make that kind of money being a righteous human being and doing right things, good things. So, your money makes you look righteous to other people. They think, whoa, look at that guy. He's so loved. Look at Elvis. They thought he was like closest thing to an angel. He was not. He was a rock star and everything that comes with it. But people looked at him like he was the shiniest thing in the world, the Most High, because his money, his influence, his clout made him look righteous. He wore white. He looked righteous, but he wasn't. These people aren't. They look righteous, but they're not. Their hearts will convict them of being sinners. And this fact shall be a testimony against you for a memorial of your evil deeds. Woe to you who devour the finest of the wheat, and drink wine in large bowls, and tread underfoot the lowly with your might, the greedy. Woe to the greedy who devour and just take and take and take and take and take, and never give anything back. If you take, you have to give back. That's part of the rule. You know. Just like when I put up that $, Jake Johnson Band. If you feel like you've learned something here, give back if you can. That's the rule. You take, you give back. If you don't, you're not doing it right. But that's the way it should work. The way it does work is that the greedy overtake the humble, and they take everything they have and leave them with nothing. Well, that works in this world. It happens every day. But God sees it. And what he's talking about here is when those people reach that point, they're going to get what's coming to them. They're not going to be able to take forever. They can only take for right now. So rest. There's going to come a time when you can heal from that. That's what he's talking about. Woe to you who drink water from every fountain, for suddenly ye be consumed and wither away, because you have forsaken the fountain of life. Yeah. Drink water from every fountain because you're greedy. You can't pass one up without taking some for yourself, not leaving some for other people that may need it. The fountain of life, that's the water that comes out of Christ. You forsook that. You didn't think about that one. Woe to you who work unrighteousness and deceit and blasphemy. It shall be a memorial against you for evil. Woe to you, ye mighty, who with might oppress the righteous. For the day of your destruction is coming, and in those days many and good days shall come to the righteous in the day of your judgment. Believe, you righteous, that the sinners will become a shame and a perish in the day of unrighteousness. They will. Be it known unto you, you sinners, that the Most High is mindful of your destruction. He's looking for you. He ain't forgot about you. You may think you got away with it on this earth. Maybe you did get away with it. Maybe the law ain't looking for you no more. But I promise you, God's got his eye on you. He hadn't forgot what you did. Be mindful of that. He's coming for you. And the angels of heaven rejoice over your destruction. What will you do, you sinners? And whither will you flee on the day of judgment? There's nowhere to go. When God comes back, he's going to have the whole of the earth encompassed. There's nothing you can do. There's nowhere you can run to. There's no way you can escape it. It's over. When you hear the voice of the prayer of righteous, yea, ye shall fare like unto them against whom this word shall be a testimony. Ye have been companions of sinners, and in those days the prayer of the righteous shall reach unto the Lord. And for you the day of your judgment shall come. All the words of your unrighteousness shall be read out before the great Holy One. Now we're at Judgment Day. Every word you speak, every deed you do, every act you make, every love you take, God's watching you. And you will one day stand before him where he will read out in front of God and everybody every word you've ever spoken, everything you've ever done. And you're going to have to account for it and have a very good reason for it. Otherwise, you're going into that lake of fire. Remember that. If you don't like humiliation, you're not going to like Judgment Day. All the words of your unrighteousness shall be read out before the great Holy One, and your faces shall be covered with shame. And he will reject every work which is grounded in unrighteousness. Woe to you, ye sinners, who live on the mid-ocean and on the dry land, whose remembrance is evil against you. Woe to you who acquire silver and gold in unrighteousness, and say that we have become rich with riches and have possessions and acquired everything we have desired. If you've done that, you've done something wrong to get it. And now let us do what we supposed, for we have gathered silver. Let's do what we proposed, because we have gathered silver. And many are the husbandmen in our houses. Husbandman. A husbandman is somebody that inseminates cattle or women, apparently. And our granaries are brim full with water. I don't know what a granary is. I guess fish. I don't know. Yea, and like water, your lies shall flow away. Let me look that word up, because I'm not sure what that means. Granaries. Okay, it's for grain. It's a granary. It should be granary. It's a storehouse for grain. Okay. And many are the husbandmen in our houses, and our granaries are brim full as with water. So they're full to the top with grain. That makes more sense. Yea, and like water, your lies shall flow away, for your riches shall not abide, but speedily ascend from you. You will hemorrhage money. You can't keep riches. You can't take it with you when you go anyway. For ye have acquired it all in unrighteousness, and ye shall be given over to a great curse. Amen? That's what I'm talking about. If you acquired your riches in that kind of way, you will lose your riches in that kind of way, because it ain't yours. It's the world's. Most likely it's whomever you stole it from to get it. And now I swear unto you, to the wise and to the foolish, to everybody, for ye shall have manifold experiences on the earth. You're going to go through a lot of things. For ye men shall be put on more adornments than women, and colored garments more than a virgin. Did he just predict transgenderism? I think he did. You're going to go through many things in this world. For you men shall put on more adornments than women, and colored garments more than virgins. In royalty, and in grandeur, and in power, and in silver, and in gold, and in purple, and in splendor, and in food, they shall be poured out as water. Therefore, they shall be wanting in doctrine and wisdom. Wanting means they're lacking in it. They don't have it. Doctrine is the doctrine of the Bible, and wisdom is how you understand the doctrine of the Bible. And they shall perish thereby together with their possessions, and with all their glory and their splendor, and in shame and in slaughter and in great destitution their spirits shall be cast into the furnace of fire. That's where you go when you live that kind of life. Is the Bible telling you shouldn't be rich? No. The Bible's telling you shouldn't be ultra rich, because you can't get that way without hurting people and without doing wrong. If you have a business and you're legitimately good at it, you work hard and you do the right thing and you stick your nose to the grindstone and it's successful and you make money, there's nothing wrong with that. God wants you to do that. That's not what we're talking about. There's a difference between the guy who sells IBMs and Bill Gates. There's a difference between those two individuals, right? And when Bill Gates first started out, he was doing quite well, and he didn't do anything evil at that point to be where he was. And now he's a completely different animal. You go look at what he's into now, and you can see he's left what he started out doing and has begun to do other things that are wicked. And he's gained lots and lots and lots and lots of money from doing it. Look at Google. They started out and they had a thing on their door, do no evil. That was over their door. They took it down. Why? Because they left that habitat and started doing things that are evil. You can't stay at that place. If you're going to go into the other place, you're going to hurt somebody to get there. That's just the nature of being rich. You go look at the top 5 richest people in the world. Go out and find a picture of them on Google. Just Google their names. Top 5 richest people in the world. Tell me if you see anybody there that's happy. No, you'll see that they look terrified. They look unhealthy. They look sick. Why? Well, because their life is not good and righteous. That's why. Because they do a lot of bad things to get where they are. You cannot be the leader of the world unless you have done some wicked things, or unless God appointed you to be. There is that. God has appointed people to be things. But if he appoints you, it's because you're righteous enough to be appointed. This book is admonishing those who endeavor to be that big. You can't be that big. We're all supposed to be humble. The meek shall inherit the earth, not the uber rich. So, keep struggling, keep fighting, work hard, do right, don't do evil things, you'll be okay. You will always make it where you need to go if you're doing those things. If you're not doing those things, though, there's going to come a time when you're starving for God's word and wisdom, and you won't be able to find it. And they shall perish thereby together with their possessions, and with all their glory and their splendor. And in shame and in slaughter and in great destitution their spirits shall be cast into that furnace of fire. That's where the evil go. I have sworn unto you, ye sinners, as a mountain has not become a slave. I have sworn unto you, ye sinners, as a mountain has not become a slave, and a hill does not become the handmaid of a woman. Even so, sin has not been set upon this earth, but man of himself has created it. There you go. God did not include sin when he created this world. He created it perfect. Man created sin. Through Adam came death because he sinned. Eve was wholly seduced. She was tricked. Adam knew full well what he was doing. Remember that. And he did it anyway. And under a great curse shall they fall who commit it, sin. And barrenness has not been given to the woman, but on account of the deeds of her own hands, she dies without children. Want to know why you were barren? I have sworn unto you, you sinners, by the Holy Great One, that all your evil deeds are revealed in the heavens, and that none of your deeds of oppression are covered and hidden. You will not get away with it. And do not think in your spirit, nor say in your heart, that you do not know, and that you do not see, that every sin is every day recorded in heaven in the presence of the Most High. Don't you do it. Don't you pretend ignorant because you know better. Don't you ever say, I didn't know. Yeah, you knew. When you did it, you knew. You could feel it in your heart, and you did it anyway. If you pay attention to your spirit, if you pay attention to your body, it will tell you when you're doing things wrong, because you'll get the feeling like you shouldn't do it, and then you choose to do it anyway. When you do that, you have committed a sin, and it is recorded in heaven. Don't ever think that it's not. You're not going to get away with it. From henceforth, you know that all your oppression wherewith you oppress is written down every day till the day of your judgment. Woe unto you, you fools! For through your folly shall you perish, and you transgress against the wise, and so good hap shall not be your portion. And so good hap shall not be your portion. Happiness shall not be your portion. And now, know ye that ye are prepared for the day of destruction. Wherefore do not hope to live, you sinners, but you shall depart and die. For you know no ransom. You think there's a reason they took this book out of the Bible? It's kind of blunt, isn't it? For ye are prepared for the day of the great judgment, for the day of tribulation and the great shame of your spirits. Woe to you, you obstinate of heart, who work wickedness and eat blood. Whence have ye good things to eat and drink, and to be filled? From all the good things which the Lord of the Most High has placed in abundance on the earth. Therefore ye shall have no peace. Out of all the good stuff God put here on this earth in abundance to eat, and you choose to eat blood. You wicked things. Why not eat blood? Because the life is in the blood. God created life. It ain't to be eaten. Woe to you who love the deeds of the unrighteous. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry, I skipped one. Let's go back up. For you are prepared for the day of the great judgment, for the day of tribulation and the great shame of your spirits. Woe unto you, you obstinate of heart, who work wickedness and eat blood, whence ye have good things to eat and drink, and to be filled from all the good things which the Lord of the Most High has placed in abundance on the earth. Therefore ye shall have no peace. I did read that one. Woe unto you who love the deeds of the unrighteousness. Wherefore do ye hope for good happiness unto yourselves? Know that ye shall be delivered into the hands of the righteous, and they shall cut off your necks and slay you, and have no mercy upon you. Woe to you who rejoice in the tribulation of the righteous, for no grave shall be dug for you. Woe to you who set at nothing of words of the righteous. In other words, you don't listen to them. You don't listen to the words of the righteous. For you have no hope of life. You shall have no hope of life. Woe to you who write down lying and godless words. Hey, press, I want to pay attention to this CNN, New York Times. Woe to you who write down lying and godless words. For they write down their lies that man may hear them and act godlessly towards their neighbor. Therefore they shall have no peace, but die a sudden death. That's where we're going to stop for today. Wow. We will pick up tomorrow night, chapter 99, verse 1 of the great epistle of Enoch. Man, what a fantastic read that was. I hope that it touches your heart. I hope that it makes you think about a lot of things. I hope that it clears up a few questions that the Bible has asked. And above all, I hope it causes you to reach out with both hands to your Father Almighty God and ask Him to be a part of your life. Ask Him to come into your world and tell you what you lack and tell you how to fix what is wrong and tell you how to bring into bear the things that you need for yourself. I hope you do that. I hope that you ask for His salvation. I hope that you ask for His love and His friendship. He'll give it. He wants to be that for you. He wants to be a part of your life. But while you're thinking about that, will you please do me a favor? Seriously. Hit that like button, subscribe, share, support, join, Super Chat. Share this video with everybody you know. Be a pro. Bring them to the channel. Be part of their solutions, not part of their problems. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you're thinking about. Question me, curse me, bless me, challenge me, confront me, conform with me. Drink my Kool-Aid. Make your own Kool-Aid. As long as you're thinking critically, that's what I want. And hey, if you love the Word of God and you can see the value on what I'm trying to build here and you'd like to help me build it, help me keep going, help me keep the lights on around here, you can do that by joining the channel. Get yourself a J-tag or put a Super Chat in the chat box. Buy a t-shirt, something like that. But if you feel led to send your tithes, offerings, or love offerings to a humble ministry like this, you can do that by going to paypal.me/jakejohnsonband or Cash App, $JakeJohnsonBand. Every little bit helps. It is a win-win. It is a blessing to me. For sure it is. But it's a blessing to you too. Why? Because God notices these things. As I just pointed out in the book we just read, He notices when you give to His support. And He wants us to know His words. I'm going to do everything in my power to be worthy of that support. I will answer all of your questions and comments as I always do right now. Okay. What did you think? Do you feel enlightened? Do you feel like you've learned a thing or two? Do you feel a little scared? Do you feel like your brain is turning into mayonnaise? Tell me what's on your mind. Whew. That was an intense read. It got me all up in my cackles. Amanda says, black ice, watch until 9 a.m. Yeah, be careful out there. Cold means danger. Judy says, that's bad, Amanda. Yes, it is. Amanda says, I know. Judy says, be careful if you have to go out. Please do. Amanda says, definitely. I'm still learning how to drive in snow and ice, but I think I got it pretty good. I've been racing and driving since I was 11, and I drive something or other. My chat jumped. Hang on. 8:30. And I drive pretty good, and it's like second nature. Well, here's the problem with that. When you're driving on ice, and black ice especially, everything you know about racing, it's the exact opposite of that. So here's the thing. Drive like you have no brakes. If you hit the brakes, you're doing it wrong. If you're going fast enough to need to hit brakes, you're doing it wrong. Drive like there are no brakes and you cannot stop. If you'll do that, you'll be fine on the ice. That's the trick. In other words, pay attention to what's in front of you. Make sure you have enough room to coast to a stop without hitting your brakes. Because if you don't, you're going to get in a situation where you run into somebody, because that black ice, when you hit the brakes, you're just going to slide. And you can't control where that car goes on black ice. It goes wherever it wants to, wherever nature takes it. Judy says, still, black ice is something else. It really is. Amanda says, yes, I know. Jake has hit a couple of times, so I know how to react. Right on. Judy says, scary. Amanda says, yes, you just can't panic. No, you cannot panic. That's a bad dude. Walter Davis, good evening, all. Driving and listening. Hello, Walter. Welcome back to the show. Nice to see you, buddy. How you doing? Amanda says, Walter, hamburger upper hand. Judy says, hey, Walter. April says, hi, Walter. Good to see you. Be safe, Walter. Amber says, good evening, Walter. Welcome. Prayers and thoughts. April says, amen, prayers. Patty says, covering my eyes. Pass and repass. Right on. Patty says, let those cats live with them dogs. Cats and dogs are living together. It's pandemonium out there. Patty says, do you think he was talking about the creation tablets? I don't know. He said he read some tablets in heaven, and he got some information from them, so probably. I don't know exactly what the creation tablets are. I don't know what you're referring to. I've heard of several different tablets, the emerald tablet and the copper tablet and the several different things I've heard about, but I'm not exactly sure which one you're referring to, but it's quite possible. Mr. P says, good evening. Hey, Mr. P, nice to see you, brother. Amanda says, Mr. P, hamburger upper hand. Judy says, hey, John. What it is says yes, with all that information, but Enoch was exposed to it. It's like getting a suntan. You got to get a little. You got to get a little of it at a time, not all at once, or you'll burn up. Oh, yeah. You're talking about all the things that he knows, that he saw? Yeah, I would imagine he had to take it in small bites. I imagine it took quite a while for him to write down and record everything, too. What it is says, I didn't come up with this, but I've heard it deep down in every man, woman, and child. It is the fundamental idea of God. It just has to be awakened. Correct. I didn't come up with this, meaning you weren't taught these things in the churches that you were raised in or not in church. I was reintroduced to God at 28 years old, spiritually, not religiously. Gotcha. Yeah, I wasn't I wasn't raised up with it either. I was raised in a Pentecostal holiness church, and they did the speaking in tongues and the running up and down the aisles and all that, and I always felt like that was a little fake. So I stayed away from it. I didn't like that. It wasn't until I started really delving into the world. I was interested in Egypt, actually. That's what got me started. And as I dove into Egypt, I developed a passion for the antiquities of things, you know. And I just went off and I hit the Bible and I just kept going. And I was like 14 when that happened. And I've been at it ever since. Linda says, hi, John. Hi, Linda. April says, amen. Hi, John Love, heart. April says, yes, to the parallel of the commandments. Yes. Yeah, a lot of what we were reading in this epistle of Enoch parallels the commandments. They're not exact. He didn't say anything about worshiping false gods in that, which is commandment number 1 and number 2 for a reason. But a lot of the other things were in there. I guess that's just the way that you live righteously is to not do those things. What it is says, no God, no peace. No God, no peace. Right. April says, amen, truth, prayers. Judy says, I would like to hear that chanted on the street. What it is, no God, no peace. Right. Well, the Bible says to stay away from chanting because it gets the flesh involved, and that's not how you worship God, so don't chant. But you can pray it, and you can teach it, and you can definitely say it. No God, no peace. The only way you can have peace is to know God. If you want to know peace, you got to know God. If you have no God, you have no peace. No, 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 no. Thank you for subscribing, Joseph Durham. I appreciate you. Welcome to the show. April says, welcome, Joseph. Prayers and smiley faces. Judy says, welcome, Joseph. April says, that's a fact. That's a fact regarding the takers and the humble. Yes. What it is says, if you take all the cookies out of the cookie jar and don't put any back, there ain't going to be no cookies in the cookie jar for anyone. Yeah. And once you've eaten them all, you're just fat and disgusted with yourself and hungry for more cookies. The right way to do it is to eat a cookie and let everybody else eat a cookie. Or dare I say it, if you're in abundance, put a cookie in the jar so someone can have a cookie. April says, LOL, what it is? Good point. What it is says, I am rich, not monetarily, but by the blessings of God, and I give thanks for that. Amen, brother. So do I. I don't have any money at all, but I have everything I need. April says, God bless us all. What it is says, I believe in the law of circulation. What you put out comes back, whether it be good money, because you can't outgive God. That's correct. That is correct. What it is says, look at Epstein, Sean Combs, Harvey Weinstein. Look where they are at. And you know what got them there? The axiom, if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Every single one of them are in the position they're in because they played the game they played. Every one of them. I'm not there. You know why? Because I didn't do any of those things. If I did, I would be there. Judy says, right what it is. Amanda says, great read, Jake. Thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you all for being part of it. Amy says, thanks for the read. Thanks for the read, Jake. Amy, my pleasure. Thank you for listening. Gypsy and the Vanilla Gorilla. What's up, buddy? He says, have a great night. Are you leaving? I didn't leave when you got here. What's up? Walter says, great read. Thanks, Jake. My pleasure, Walter. Thank you for listening. Amanda says, hi and night, Gorilla. Gypsy says, is this the Jake from State Farm? No. Jake from State Farm ain't got nothing on me, buddy. I'm not Jake the Snake either. I'm Jake the Pastor. And Gypsy says, hi and good night, Amanda. And of course, we feel enlightened. You gave us pure hard wisdom. Thank you. I appreciate that. It wasn't mine, though. I'm just delivering it. I wish it was mine. I wish I was that smart. I'm not. April says, awesome read, Jake. Thank you so much. God bless us all. And your chat's going to jump. Hang on. God bless us all. I'll rejoin in a day or two. I have to get the boys to bed. I'll see you tomorrow night, 8:30. Right on. Well, thank you, April. God bless you, too, and I appreciate you listening. And we'll see you next time. April says, love and hugs, prayers, smiley faces, and hearts. And Judy says, bye, April. Amanda says, good night, April. Gypsy says, we just drove on black ice in a snowstorm at night. And we're doing good till that Amish buggy jumped out in front of us, but no harm was committed. We were all good. Well, that's fantastic. You had an Amish buggy jump out in front of you? That's terrifying. What were they doing out in a snowstorm on black ice at night? I wonder if black ice affects a buggy. Do horses have trouble with black ice? Are they like tripping all over the place? Amy says, hi, Gypsy and the Vanilla Gorilla. Gypsy says, hi, Amy. Then Amanda says, I'm glad everyone was okay, Gorilla. Where's Debbie and Kevin at tonight? I saw Debbie come in, but she ain't said nothing. Judy says, believe me, I know about those Amish buggies. Kelly Sparks, welcome to the show. He says, you read live every day? I read live twice a week. I go live every other day, except on Saturday. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Sunday and Monday are Bible study nights. Wednesday and Friday, we just hang out and talk to each other. Saturday, we have a political argument. It's good for everybody. So there you go. Come on, join us, Kelly. Hit that like button and subscribe. You'll get a notification every time I come online. And there's thousands of videos that you can look at that I've read. You could look for the rest of the year. You could watch videos of me reading the Bible if you wanted to. Amanda says, Sunday and Monday nights, Kelly, and hi and welcome. And Linda says, Kelly, he does Sunday and Monday nights. Gypsy says, speaking in tongues is not fake, but also not necessarily needed. When needed, it is always interpreted. Some churches that say it's necessary for people to fake it, just trust him and he will lead. Well, to that I would say, every time I've ever seen it, it was fake. I'm not an idiot. I do know a little bit about language. I've studied it most of my life. I can tell when somebody's rambling and not saying anything. Even if it is an unknown tongue, it still has to follow the rules of language or it's not saying anything. So, every time I've ever heard anybody speak in tongues, it was fake. That being said, the Bible does record an event at the day of Pentecost in Jerusalem where two men spoke and everyone in that area heard what they were saying down to the dialect of the county they were born in. It was a cloven tongue. That is the only place the Bible talks about speaking in tongues, and that was a completely different thing. The other place that you're talking about where you need an interpreter, that's when you go into a foreign country and you're speaking English to a bunch of Mexicans. You need an interpreter because they won't know when to say amen. They don't speak English. That's the kind of tongue that's talking about. So I hope that clears that up. But what they do in churches, they that's bullshit. Sorry. Let's see. I hate to say it that way, but it's true. Trust God, he will lead you. That's correct. God doesn't tell you to speak in tongues. Not one place in the Bible does he say to do that. The time that it happened because of a special event, and everybody needed to hear what those two men had to say. And they heard it. And that happened once. That's it. It's not a regular occurrence. When they talk about needing an interpreter, it's other languages. That kind of tongue, not some mysterious babble. Kelly says, thank you. We're glad to have you, Kelly. Gypsy says, correct, Jake. All wisdom comes from God. Correct. Amanda says, yeah, Kelly, please subscribe and join us. Dennis is here. He says, good read, Jake. Thank you, Dennis. I appreciate you being here, buddy. Thanks for listening. Linda says, how much longer do you think we will be in the book of Enoch? I'm not sure. I think there's 5 books. And I think we just started the 4th one, but I'm not really sure. I'd have to look. Probably a couple more weeks. Mr. P says, well, I appreciate your read, Jake. Good night, all. I got an early start tomorrow. Mr. P, thank you for being here, and God bless you, and I appreciate you listening. Thank you. Gypsy says the horses were hauling tail and looked like they were doing fine. Excellent. It's just funny to think about horses getting bogged down in some black ice, slipping all over the place. Maybe they go sliding around like ice skaters, like I did when I hit it. And Amanda says, not too much, Linda. I think we're almost done with it. I think so, too. I think there's 5 books, and I think we just entered the 4th one. Amanda says, Dennis, hamburger upper hand, and good night, Mr. P. Dennis says, Amanda, wavy hand. Kelly says, I subscribed. Thank you. Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate you subscribing. I think you'll like it. Judy says, good night, John. There's Debbie. She says, I'm still here listening, and Kevin is out removing snow. All right. Well, I'm glad you're here. Amanda says, thank you, Kelly. And be safe, Kevin. Prayers. Yes, please be safe. Bill says, work night and school for kids. Snow makes up day. You guys are great. And thanks, Jake. Great read. God bless you all. Sweet dreams. Thank you, Bill. God bless you too, buddy. Thank you for listening. I enjoyed it, and I hope you did too. Amanda says, good night, Bill, and be careful in that snow, by the way. And Judy says, bye, Bill. And Linda says, Debbie, did they get more snow throughout the day? Sounds like it. Gypsy says, I agree with what you're claiming, Jake. I'm not claiming. I hear you, but I'm not claiming. It's not my claim. It's not an opinion. I wish it were, but it's not. I set out looking for it, trying to prove it, because I believe the same thing that you believe. I couldn't. And so I back up what I say with show me. If somebody can speak in tongues, I'd like to hear it. And I'd like to hear the interpretation. I happen to be a scholar on the Bible, so if they interpret something, I would know what they were going to say, right? Because what they're interpreting is from God, which means it'll be in the Bible, right? So let's put it to the test. Let's get somebody speaking in tongues, and let's find out if they're saying anything. They're not. I wish they were, but they're not. Unfortunately, there is no magic. The Bible does not have to be mysterious. It is logical. It is natural. God is the creator of all things natural. He is not a magician. So everything he does has a logical and scientifically accurate way of doing things. Unfortunately, speaking in tongues falls in that category of mysticism, and it's just not real. I wish it was, but it's not. Psychics aren't real either. No such thing as ghosts or aliens or Bigfoot. It's just the way it is. What it is says, yes, thank you for the read, Jake. It was mind-opening. That's what I'm aiming for. Thank you, what it is. I'm trying to open everybody's mind a little bit. Not so much that your brain falls out, but a little bit. Get some thinking going on. Linda says, good night, Bill. What it is says, the Amish, they like to go drifting and getting sideways. I bet they do. Amish drifting. Now, there's a sport I could get behind. The Amish drifter. Dennis says, much love to y'all. Thank you, Dennis. Much love back to you, brother. Linda says, good night, Dennis. Amanda says, heart, Dennis. Debbie says, I don't know, Linda. Kevin had to be out at 7 and only expected to be out about 4 hours. Well, if he didn't make it tonight, that means he's still going. Dennis says, good night, Linda. I'll be here listening. I was just sharing love, not leaving. All right. there used to be snow days when I was in school. With technology, they have e-learning. Sorry, I can't hit that E note. They have e-learning. Days when the students can't travel, and that would suck. Right on. Yeah, I miss those days of skipping school, too. Gypsy says, I've never heard anyone speaking in tongues, really. I just know it happened before. It did happen before. It happened at the day of Pentecost, but that was a very special event. It only happened once, and it only happened to 2 people. And everyone around them heard everything they said in their language. So whatever they were saying came out in every language. They were at a place where a lot of trade goes on. So there were people from 4 or 5 different countries there. People from all over the world had come there to shop. So there were all kinds of languages. And when they stood up to speak, everybody heard what they were saying. That was God talking through them. And that I believe in. And I believe that'll happen again at the end times. I think the 2 witnesses will speak like that, where everybody on earth will understand what they're saying. But I don't think that the people in churches that are rambling 3 syllables, sha-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, come on now. What language is that when they say the same thing every time they say it? Go watch Kenneth Copeland when he speaks in tongue and write down the syllables of what he says. Stop the tape, write it down. Shibala, shabala, bubala, habala. Whatever it is he says, write it down. And then count how many times he uses that same phrase, and then ask yourself, is he saying that to every situation that he's saying it to? Is that language? Is that how language works? No. I'm sorry, it's fake. It's practiced, they learn it, and then they fake it. What it is says, you can't shit on someone that's been shit on. Right on. Amanda says, I've never had a snow day, just hurricane days, LOL. Well, in Florida, they don't have snow days, but they do have hurricane days. Amanda says, it sounds ridiculous, Gorilla, especially after you learn it's fake. And Gypsy says, have you seen the new electric Amish buggies? I have not. Have they embraced electricity finally? The ones with no cars, but shunned has built. No cars that shunned has built. The ones with no cars that shunned has built. I don't know what that means. That's one of those Amish words. I don't know what you're talking about. But if they have electric buggies, number 1, they're finally embracing electricity. And number 2, cool. That'd be kind of neat to watch. Gypsy says, the ones with no horses, right? Oh, I see. I get what you're saying. Yeah, that'd be interesting. They call those cars. I wonder if they got like the Mustang version. Amanda says, Gorilla, what area are you in? I've only seen the Amish like twice. Obviously up north. They're around Pennsylvania and places like that. I'm not sure if they spread out, but they're up there around Pennsylvania for sure. Gypsy says, yep, I know everyone heard it in their own language. I read that somewhere before. Mm-hmm. Gypsy says, Northwest Ohio. Okay, so they do spread out a little bit. I didn't know that. I thought they were just on the East Coast there, but cool. Rumspringa. Judy says, when we lived in Dalto, we had a lot of Amish neighbors, even right across the street. I bet they make good neighbors. Always got good fresh milk and eggs. Amanda says, oh, okay. So you have a lot of Amish up there. That's kind of cool. They are cool people. They believe in the old ways, and they're very devout Christians, so they believe in righteousness, and they believe in simple lives. They're kind of cool people. The Mennonites are kind of like the Amish. They're like Amish light. They're like Amish, but they have a car. You know what I mean? Judy says, Dalton, Wisconsin. Got it. Amanda says, we don't see many Amish in the South. I don't think we have any in North Carolina. If so, it's up north, North Carolina. I hadn't seen any. We do have Mennonites, though. Every now and then you'll see one at the food line. One works at the food line. Linda says, it's always made me feel uncomfortable. Me too. That's your spirit telling you right from wrong. If it makes you feel uncomfortable, get away from it. It's as simple as that. Gypsy says, Shunned, the maker of them, is on YouTube, I think. Oh, okay. That's a name. Got it. Shunned, meaning he was kicked out of the Amish, probably for making electric cars. Understood. So it's not the new Amish buggies. It's buggies for people who want to leave being Amish. Understood. Amanda says, did the Amish put emblems on their buggies like Ford, Chevy, etc.? I would guess not. They're against that sort of thing, so I would say probably no. I don't know that, though. I don't know much about the Amish. Judy says, they make very good neighbors. Amber says, hearts. Gypsy says, no, but they light up their buggies like rainbows, lots of LEDs. They use batteries and solar, and they have propane fridges, and they drink whiskey pops, whiskey and Mountain Dew, and they watch football. Aha! They figured ways around that. I see. Amanda says, there is a tiny Amish community in Ocala, Florida, but they stay in their little community, right? As they usually do. Amanda says, that's cool, Gorilla. And Judy says, no, they don't, Amanda. You must be in Ocala, Florida. Oh, no, they don't put emblems. I got it. Patty says the Amish sell those great little heaters. Yeah, they sell a lot of stuff, a lot of handmade stuff. And you got to support that because handmade stuff usually lasts a long time. Gypsy says they are nice and they are decent people and they don't use deodorant, though. I hear you. Patty says, I have one. An Amish heater? Sweet. What is an Amish heater? Amanda says, so keep your distance on a hot day, right? I don't know. I don't use deodorant and I don't stink. Gypsy says, coal. They heat with coal. Right on. Patty says, I don't use deodorants. Diatomy? You mean diatomaceous earth? You don't use diatomaceous deodorants? Amanda says, Amish heater, fireplace. Right on. Oh, I don't use deodorants either. Got it. Yeah, okay. That makes more sense. I use that body spray, but I don't use a lot of that unnatural stuff. I mostly just smell like cigarette smoke when I have cigarettes. Gypsy says, and they polyurinate their orbs, OSB chip. They polyurethane their OSB chipboard floors. It does look bad. Well, I mean, that's a way to make chipboard last, isn't it? Polyurethane it. I guess you could throw a rug over it and it'd be fine. Cheap board, little polyurethane, that's also cheap. That's better than buying a big expensive sheet of plywood, isn't it? What it is says, go home and she get down with hard, honest work. Oh, yeah. Churning that butter. Something sexy about that, I'm sorry. Amber says, so onion smell fresh out of the oven. No, I don't smell like onions at all. Amy says, Indiana Amish. Okay, they got them there too. I didn't know that. Patty says, blah. Judy says, they are really nice infrared heaters. Actually, they just make the wood parts. Okay. Patty says, chemical in, chemical out. All right. So it's not an Amish heater. They just make the wood parts that they make the heaters out of. Got it. Gypsy says, they do throw rag-weaved rugs on them, as you should. Amber says, Amish people work. I'm not going to believe that doesn't get funky monkey. Oh, yeah. I would imagine so. Patty says, baking soda will work. Amanda says, right, Amber? Patty says, small amounts. Yeah. Amber says, those ladies love their mans. Oh, my gosh. They have to. It's in their religion. Gypsy says, I have worked with the Amish plenty of times, and yes, they work every day, and yes, they are punctual, but their results come from their numbers, not how hard they work, right? As long as you get it done, right? Dennis says, we have one of those heaters. Lights make it look like fire. Oh, cool. Does it work? I mean, is it sufficient for heat? Or is it like just a little foot warmer kind of thing? Amber says, Jake, you're not outside working the land and such all day. Well, I am working all day, every day. Yes, I am outside working all day, every day. I don't work the land, but I do work other things. I work hard nonetheless. And I did for many years. I was a construction worker for the first over half of my life till I was about 34 years old. From about 11 to 34, I did construction. So, yeah, I've done some hard work. Amanda says, I want an electric fireplace. They are so nice. I have gas. We can put a heater in the house. We have an electric fireplace now. Patty says, works great. Oh, cool. Debbie says, when I lived in Iowa, we would spend weekends in the Amana colonies, and the Amish community that rents rooms to the English would share their lifestyle. It was a lot of fun. That's interesting. Dennis says, it's a space heater dressed up. A little noisy. Gotcha. Judy says, ours heats our living room. It's infrared, but not an Amish one. And Amanda says, this is different, Jake. I know what an electric fireplace is. You talk about one with the logs and everything. Amber says, after living mountain life, I now understand better the actual work. I know. Yeah, you got to live hard when you live up in the mountains. Everything you got to carry up there or make from what's up there already. It's about like living in the islands. Whatever's there, you brought there. Amanda says, I have a coal fireplace and a propane fireplace. Linda says, and a propane fireplace. The propane one is nice and cozy, I bet. Amanda says, right, Linda? The one I want would heat our living room and our kitchen. Gypsy says, I started construction very early, and now I'm almost 50 and still do construction, so almost all my life. I also have spoken before and given my testimony many times, and we worked with youth for a while. That's cool. Yep. That's one thing I haven't done is work with the youth. And to that I say, there's different people for different jobs, and I am a blunt instrument. I'm not a precision instrument. So I'll let somebody else work with the youth. Amber says, from your knowledge and patience, Jake, I absolutely, no doubt, know you work. I was blessed to spend Christmas with you and Miss Hammer. Amen. Well, you know, I do my thing. I'm glad that you were with us during Christmas. And it was our pleasure to be here also because, you know, what else are we going to do? Got to be available. Well, will we have any questions? Any thoughts about the read tonight? Anybody want to clear up anything that we went through? Anything sound unusual to anybody? Thank you for the hearts. I see a lot of hearts popping up. What it is just do like the hippies do and put a patchouli, what? Put a patch out. Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. Just do like the hippies do and put patchouli on. I must have been known to partake in the little green corn, a.k.a. the Mary Jane, hint, hint. Oh, I see what you're saying now. I don't know what that patchouli is, but I get you. Gypsy says, well, Jake, it was a pleasure. I'm not usually up this late, LOL. Have a great night and keep doing what you're doing. Obviously, we're called to do it, brother. Blessings. Well, thank you. I appreciate you, Gypsy, and I hope that you come back for more. But it's not that late. Dennis says, I heard the repeat of prophecy in it. I find that comforting. Yeah, me too, Dennis, and that's a good point. It's one thing, I've never read the book of Enoch, so it's one thing that I was looking for. Obviously, it was taken out of the Bible, so I don't know why that was, and I kind of think I know why, but I don't actually know. But I was looking for comparisons to the Bible. Now, the big question that I've always asked is it biblical? Is it the same as the books of the Bible? So, to my mind is, if I found things that confirmed the Bible, then I would keep that. And if I found things that contradicted the Bible, I'd throw that out and make a point of it. I haven't found anything that contradicted the Bible yet. To me, it feels like it's telling the same story, just 4,000 years earlier. So that's a very good point, and I agree with that 100%. Amanda says, good night, Gorilla. What it is says, I meant to say the Amish have been known to partake in the little green corn. Ah, I see. I'm done myself with the green corn. I hear you. Yeah, I don't partake in that at all. Amber says, y'all have a blessed night. Judy says, bye, Gorilla. Gypsy says, it's 10:15 p.m. here. Same here. We're on the same time zone there, Gorilla. Amber says, stars, hearts, dancing girls, and prayers. Gypsy says, I get up at 4:30 in the morning. Oh, I hear you. It is late then. 10:16 and 32 degrees here, says Amanda. Gypsy says, hi, Dennis. Amanda says, sleep well, Gorilla. Patty says, thank you, Miss Amanda and Jake. I will see everybody tomorrow night. Good night. I love you all. And prayers. And Mind Stretcher says, nope. And age is interesting. Amanda says, night, Patty. And Linda says, no school tomorrow for my kids, so I can sleep in. Nice. Dennis says, hey, Jeff and Tammy. And Judy says, bye, y'all. And Amanda says, good nighters all. See you tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on Untethered Live for a Bible study. Much love, y'all hearts. And I say, like, subscribe, share, support, join, and super chat. Please hit that $ Jake Johnson Band if you can. If you can't, that's all right, too. Have a good night. Gypsy says, almost always sleep with my eyes closed. You have to, because if you don't, you see things while you're sleeping. Dennis says, one love, walk with God. I do. And thank you. All right, everybody. Have a great night. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you so much for being here. I've had a blast. Take care of yourselves and each other. Linda says, bottom of the chat, good night all. Amy says, peace. Live long and prosper. Have a great night, everybody. Thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow night.